Welcome back to Morning Joe. 42 past the hour. We're going to switch gears. We decided just to talk about what just happened because we just had the Secretary General for the High Council for Human Rights on Iran on the show. We'll start there and explain to me, first of all, because this reminds me a little bit of those breakfasts with Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, which I went to two. And nothing happens except he sits around and makes a mockery of the entire situation. And I feel like I just saw that all over again. Why don't you give me the big picture, the more intelligent picture?
Well, what you just saw was not just, by the way, some guy off the street. This is someone from the first family of Iran. The Larajanis are incredibly powerful and influential. And what he basically did was denied what virtually everyone who's looked at this situation independently believes to be true, that Iran, among other things, is well on its way toward developing a nuclear weapon. And what I think it suggests is that who's ever the next occupant of the White House, be it Barack Obama or one of the Republicans, this could well be national security issue number one. If we can't, through some combination of sanctions, covert action, and what have you, either change the government of Iran or so slow their nuclear program, your next president's going to be faced with a binary choice. Either we're going to have to learn to live with an Iranian nuclear program, with all that would potentially mean for Middle Eastern instability. Imagine what a crisis would look like between Israel and Iran, or over Lebanon, with both countries with nuclear weapons. All it would mean potentially for an Iranian handoff of nuclear stuff to a group like Hamas or Hezbollah. Or Israel and the United States will have to seriously consider using military force against the Iranian nuclear program, which could buy you a couple of years, but we have to assume then the Iranians would retaliate, and among other things, the price of oil would spike to 2 or 3 times what it is now. It could be a terrible, far-reaching choice for the next president if we can't head it off. And nothing we heard over the last 10 minutes suggested that the world and Iran, not simply the United States.
I actually was really disturbed by the entire interview.
Oh,
it was chilling.
You should be disturbed.
The critical currency of diplomacy, right, Richard, is that you have to assume that people are rational actors, that they will act in a way that is predictable according to basic standards of human behavior. There wasn't anything in the last segment that made me think that Iran was a rational actor. If they are a nuclear nation, they deny the right of Israel to exist. Do you think they would act irrationally and preemptively against Israel or someone else?
The answer is we don't know, in part because you almost have to think of Iran as not just a rational actor, but also an irrational actor at times, and also actors in the plural. You've got the religious authorities, you've got the Revolutionary Guard, you've got the Al-Quds Force. For example, this recent assassination effort potentially against the Saudi ambassador in the United States. Who knows who in Iran authorized that? You're not dealing with a normal government. You're dealing with, if you will, multiple governments. So the idea that various people in Iran could have this kind of authority over nuclear materials, if that doesn't keep you up at night, you're a sounder sleeper than you ought to be.
Yeah, and also I would love to hear each candidate really talk on an in-depth level in terms of their perspective on the Iran situation. You talked about the price of oil. Very quickly, what are the other ways to diffuse this situation?
Well, you've either got to use covert action like we've been using to try to slow things down. You've got to hope for regime change of some sorts in Iran, which unfortunately doesn't look like it's happening. Can you ratchet up sanctions? Can you go after the Iranian export of oil? Now, that's really going to the edge of economic warfare, but might that not be preferable to going to the edge of warfare? I don't know, but I think these are serious issues, and I would simply say the Republican debate last weekend barely scratched the surface of the enormity of this issue and its potential consequences. We're focused on Europe as an economic shock that could push us back into a double dip. This potentially is the other economic shock. What happens with Iran? What it would mean for oil? What it would mean for the world economy? It is difficult to overestimate the potential significance of this issue.
Richard Haas, thank you.